Hey all, Go here, and I'm gonna voice this lesson because Diamond has no mic and she doesn't want to do slides. Okay, backstory. Walt Whitman was born May 31st, 1819 in West Hills, Long Island, New York. He attended public school and became a printer until 1836 where he took on a teaching job at age 17, which ended in 1841 when Whitman turned to journalism as a full-time career. After becoming a journalist, he founded his own newspaper. In 1855, Whitman took out of copyright on the first edition of Leaves of Grass, which consisted of 12 untitled poems and a preface. The collection was inspired by his travels as well as his admiration of Ralph Waldo Emerson. He would continue to make new additions throughout his life, which included the Civil War, where he vowed to live a purged and cleansed life, visiting the wounded in New York City area hospitals. Whitman's attitudes about race have been described as unstable and inconsistent. He did not always side with the abolitionists, but celebrated human dignity and decided to stay and help the wounded for 11 years, after which he took a job as a clerk for the Bureau of Indian Affairs with the Department of the Interior, and he was fired when the superior found out he was the author of The Leaves of Grass, which contained some controversial topics such as race. Whitman went on to work at the Attorney General's office until 1873, when he suffered a stroke and left him paralyzed, and later died on March 26, 1892, in his house located in Camden, New Jersey. Okay, backstory over. Time to analyze this poem, O Captain, My Captain, which was written as part of the 1891 edition in Leaves of Grass. O Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every wreck, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh, heart, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red, where on the deck my captain lies, falling cold and dead. O Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills, for you bouquets and ribbons raised, for you the shores are crowding, for you they call the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head. It is some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead. My Captain does not answer, his lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm, he has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. From fearful trip the victor ship comes in with object won. Exult the shores and ringle bells, but I with mournful tread walk the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. Okay, the first thing we need to do after reading this poem is we need to reread it. This is the part when Diamond's going to pause, and you guys look at it. Cool! Now remember how to find the meter and rhyme. How many syllables does each line have? It's okay, take your time to count. So which one of these would this be categorized as? Parker, you answer. Yeah, hexameter. Now the rhyme scheme's a little different than the ones the class has seen. Looking over it, the first stanza's rhyme scheme is A-A-B, C-D-E-F-E. The second one's the same, and the third stanza changes it slightly to A-A-B-B, C-D-E-D. Starting from a small focus point of view, it's very easy to conclude that this poem is being told by a sailor, who is describing the bittersweet conclusion of the ship's voyage as the captain has just died. That could take into account that Whitman was alive during the Civil War. He also advocated for human dignity. So who would he write this about? Who could have possibly had a strong opinion that mattered on the abolishment of slavery? Who could have possibly been so important that he made the end of the Civil War so bittersweet? If you guessed John Wilkes Booth, the man who shot Abraham Lincoln, you're wrong! It's written for Lincoln as an elegy, which is something of a mourning poem. That's why the poem is formatted so strangely. Whitman chose this to convey the uneasiness and grief following Lincoln's death. You are all probably smart kids, so you can take a shot at who the sailor and cheering crowd are supposed to represent. Another aspect of this poem is the visual and auditory imagery. You all have been probably imagining a boat or ship of some kind, right? Now imagine it coming into shore. There's celebration. People are cheering and bells are rung as the crew pulls in with a dead captain. Bittersweet as hell. Anyways, that concludes our analysis of O Captain, My Captain by Walt Whitman. I have been Gold, taking you through this journey. Have a good time in class, and remember, all toasters, toast, toast.